Hello everyone, welcome to the channel again. So in the last video, we finished Renaissance. We met Sydney, who said that the poet is the creator of the golden world. Then we met John Dryden, who actually brought criticism down to the earth and said that let's actually look at what real world, real play, real voice, real writers are and then evaluate them properly. Now today, we are moving towards the next age, which is the new classical age. If Renaissance was all about rediscovering classical wisdom, the new classical age is all about applying that classical wisdom systematically, precisely, strictly to the literature. Neoclassicals were living at the belief that rules matter, order matter, reason matter, discipline matter. These were their fundamental concepts that were there. They were following all the trends that classical writers were following. And the first voice which we are going to study today in the neoclassical age is Alexander Pope. Alexander Pope was born in 1688 in London, and he was very devastated of bad writings and bad critics. He was one of the great poets which England ever produced. He had very difficult life physically. He had some spinal condition with through which he was having chronic pain, and he had some issues with his growth of the height as well. At the age of 23, he published an essay of criticism in 1711. It was all about how to write well and how to criticize well. It was written in rhyming couplets. It is not written in an essay format. It is actually a poem which was written in rhyming couplet. It is similar to the Horace Ars Poetica, in which he used a poem to describe how a poem should be. The same concept he has used it here, but in a more cunning, witty, and precise and concise way. So now moving straight to the core ideas, core arguments that he discussed and presented in an essay on criticism. The first was that follow nature and rules. So the word nature is not as simple as you are taking it as. If some of you has already covered romantics or romantics writer, they are also discussing the nature word. That nature and this nature, the neoclassical nature, these both are different. They both are having different meanings. The word nature in the neoclassical period, it means that follow the nature, follow ancients, the rules that were made by ancients, the rules that were made by Plato, Aristotle, whatever they were saying, Horace, Virgil, Homer, whatever writers we have of the ancients, follow the rules they have provided, because they are not just personal opinions. They have been codified after certain observations, after having certain observation of certain things. That's what we are saying, the prime work. So we should blindly just follow the nature, follow rules and follow ancients, because nature and rules both are same. His most famous quotation is first follow nature and her judgment framed by her just standard, which is still the same. This is the quotation which has already appeared in the previous year question paper of UGC NET. And he insisted that you should go for ancients, you should go for Aristotle, you should go for Virgil. He said that just take an example. If you will read about Aristotle's rule, the rules which he modified, which he made, it is same as the work which were produced by Virgil. Virgil was a poet, Aristotle was a critic. However, they both are leading to the same direction. This is what he is trying to say, that no matter they are the different persons, different motives, but still it is all leading to the same path. It is the universal truth. That is why he says that follow nature and follow rules that are most important for a writer, for a critic to be great. The next word is wit. The meaning of wit is not same as we have now, like funny and clever in the neoclassical period. It meant something intelligible, something which is we can understand precisely and express that truth precisely, understand that truth. That is wit for them, for neoclassical era people. He explained two types of wit: true wit and false wit. False wit is something which is the false, the cleverness. You can understand it in the sense that if a writer, if a poet has written something, then if it is asking for attention, that look at the word play, look at the arrangements, look at the diligent language, look at the extended metaphors that I have used. If that is capturing your attention, then that is false wit. because the duty of the true wit is to capture the attention of the readers to its true essence, to its truth. So true wit is something which is not which doesn't have to be something which you have not heard it before. It is something which you have heard it before, which you have felt it before. It should be something which you have already felt, and when you read something you feel that okay, I knew this, but it was something which I was not able to articulate well as this writer, this poet has done it. That is true wit. To make something feel familiar, to make something feel articulated if read by some person, if read by some reader. That is true wit. And there is a famous quotation that has also appeared in previous year question paper of UGC NET. That is, true wit is nature to advantage dressed, but oft was thoughten, but never well expressed. This is also very important for your exam perspective. The third point is he described the role of critique, that how a critique should be in the real life, because according to his views a role of critique is as valuable as the role of the good writer. In fact, role of critique is more valuable than the role of a good writer. He says that there are some of the checklist that must be in the good critique. He must have humility, he must have transparency, he must have fairness, he must have complete knowledge, he must have taste. So by complete knowledge he means that there should not be a great critic who just judge the work by having the insufficient knowledge in itself. That is not the justice to the work. Then the humility is that the critic must know the limitation of his knowledge. He should be learned enough to write but not learned enough to be confident. The next point is fairness, that judge the work according to the standard of the work, according to the against the nature and the rules that has been described by the ancients, not on the basis of that the person is your friend's enemy, that person is your enemy, that you have some personal hatred towards that. Don't judge the work on that. That fairness should be there. Judge the work on the fairness. Then the taste. They would be person who know all the rules, but they don't know the difference between the adequate writing and the great writing. So that is important for them to know the difference. It is not important that a person who knows all the rules, he would be aware of what is the difference between adequate writing and the great writing. So you must know the difference between them. Moving forward, he talks about the common faults of critics. He says that there are common faults that should not be in the critic, which he had witnessed. So these were pride and arrogance, imperfect learning or little learning, and with that he has a great quotation as well, that a little learning is a dangerous thing. Judging parts rather than the whole. Just judge the work without even getting the whole context that is written in the whole text, whole poetry, whole thing. That is fault of a critique. Following fashion, that means if someone is written off trend, that is not popular right now, and you are just following, you are just marking on the basis of that thing that it is not trending right now, so it is not good. That is the fault of a critique. Or personal prejudice, this is the last one. So these are some of the faults that must not be in the good critique, that were portrayed by Alexander Pope. The last part is sound and sense. He says the sound is a part of sense. What is written, how things are written, is as valuable that what it says. That whenever you read any of the line, whenever you read any of the sentence that has been written, then it should sound like the meaning that it is trying to create. If something is tend to be slower, then it should have heavy syllable, slow rhythms, and long words. And if something on the if something has to be said on the light and quick way, then it has to be opposites. And if you have noticed that the same thing was said by Longinus as well, when he said that it should be important, that noble diction and dignified word arrangement should be there in order to have the source of sublime. The same concept has been used by Alexander Pope by getting inspired from him. So these were some of the concepts that were discussed by Alexander Pope in an essay on criticism in which was published in 1711, and that were important for us to know the feeling and to have the grasp of literary criticism. That's it for today, and in the next video we are going to study about Samuel Johnson. See you there.